What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and once again I'm here with
Gersh1.
and today we're back to answer more of your questions in another for the greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below, put question in front of your question, because we get to those questions first. That is what Promisist did. Promisist. Do gifts of Nurgle prevent cultists from being infected by Genestealers? If not, does the infection prevent acquiring those gifts? Yes, they do prevent them. So like Nurgle and Tyranids, so Genestealer cults and Nurgle cults do not get along, and there have been many situations where both of those factions fight each other for control of one planet, and obviously poor Imperium is left in the middle. There are stories in the Genestealer Codex, and there are stories. I haven't checked the Death Guard stuff, but yeah. So basically, you can't have both. Like, Genestealers cannot infect Nurgle, but Nurgle can infect Genestealers.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That was a quick one.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be more elaborate, but I guess not.
No. This one's by Gideon Kreider. If they ever release the Legion of the Damned as an army, what named Space Marines would you like to return? Personally, I think Rylanor of the Emperor's Children would be awesome to see.
For sure.
That is an amazing concept. So that way, any named character that dies can be reincarnated as a Legion of the Damned. Primarks, you could see Ferrus Manus again. Sanguinius, if he is dead. I think it was Tycho from the Blood Angels. That is a really cool concept. I really like that.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking the other day? Because I think... Oh, I looked up... I've been watching the movie The Hobbit, and I looked up like how much Smaug cost.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $500 for that model that GW makes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy. And then I started thinking about like, how come we've never played The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings for GW? Because it probably is like an interesting system. And then I realized like there's a sense of like annoyance that you can come in with an army and have Gandalf, and I can have an army with Gandalf.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, why?
Why are there two Gandalfs?
And then, yeah, and I thought, like, why doesn't that happen in 40K? And we've never had a situation where, like, you're playing Gilliman and I'm playing Gilliman.
That's true.
Or, like Farsight versus Farsight. And I wonder if it's because the factions are so well fleshed out, where, like, you have so many named characters that two people fighting with the same named character, it probably wouldn't happen. And then on top of that, I've noticed that named characters usually are not like top tier, I guess.
Yeah.
With the exception of like some.
Yeah. It's like there's always a better captain if you equip them with like a jump pack, and then you give him the warlord trait you want him to have, and you give him like relics and stuff like that. Because yeah, you are right. When you look at named characters, they're stuck with a certain type of warlord trait. And that may not be the way you want to play your army around that. So
yeah, so I guess when we complain like, oh, why does Mortarion suck? It's not that he sucks. It's just that like, or why is he so expensive? It's like, well, so that people don't really like play him in the competitive area. Because like, can you imagine going into a competitive tournament?
And everybody's playing the same list?
Yeah. Or like everybody has Gilliman. Some version of Gilliman.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really annoying. Then it reminds me of like the Hero Click days, where like there would be one specific model that you wanted to play and you had to have it, and so everybody would have that model. Mm-hmm. That was pretty annoying.
That's very akin to like trading card games and stuff
Magic,
like that.
yeah.
Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. It's like, oh, well, this is the best deck right now, so everybody starts playing it.
Yeah.
And then you run into mirror matches, and I never liked mirror matches.
That's why GW, or 40K in general is so awesome. Because you could have like really good lists, but even if you have a mirror match against, like, remember when the that Dreadnought list was really good?
The Iron Hands, yeah.
So like if two people have that same list, it still feels like different, because they're two different chapters, or they could be two different chapters, or successor chapters, and they're fighting with each other. And even though it's two Leviathan dreadnoughts going up against each other, because that was at the core, right? The Leviathan dreadnoughts. You're still like that does happen. That is out in the wild,
right?
Kind of thing.
Even if it's the same thing, you could just flavor it like, oh, they went into the warp and now there's like they're fighting. Yeah, because that happens with the orcs.
Yeah.
This orc killed himself to get his favorite gun again.
Yep. Next question.
This one is by Gophiria Rebels. Hello again. My question is, are Necron Overlords more powerful than the Primarks? I don't think so. Primarks are like... Well, whenever they explain Primarks fighting and stuff, it's almost like they're fighting on a whole different level than like Space Marines. Like their blows shake the earth, and like they're really fast, and it's like they're superhuman, more so than like the superhumans that are Astartes. And I can't see Necron Overlords being on that level.
Yeah. The one thing I would say though about a Necron Overlord as opposed to like a space or a Primarch is the amount of resources at their disposal and the quality of resources. Because you have weapons that can bend the laws of physics.
Yeah.
Whereas the Primarchs, they just have numbers. Well, I mean, they're still Space Marines, but still, they got numbers. Or they had numbers.
Right. Even then, like, most Primarchs don't have, like, necrodermis. They can't reanimate.
Right.
Like you said, like, their weapons literally de-atomize you.
Yep.
When Primarchs, they're just really great combatants. So they could kind of counter strong technology with experience.
Yep. Next question. I have one from Squat E. Bless you. What does Nurgle's taint smell like after a long day in the warp? Probably what everybody's taint smells like after a long day at work. We all smell it. Don't act like you don't.
This one's by Sawsef. So I really like the aesthetic of the Drukhari abominations and mandrakes, but I really dislike the standard rank and file dark elves. Is it possible to set up an army of just Frankenstein monsters and Wraiths in 40k? And how would you do it? And what would this faction be called? You would have to go unbound. So basically you would lose all command points, but that gives you the opportunity to bring whatever model you want. And this conglomeration of different like monsters and Griblies and whatnot probably isn't going to be very competitive, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. This question comes from Demandela Bird. What kind of weaponry did the Corks have during the War in Heaven? Probably the same type of like Shuda that they have now. Because like there's no specific Bad Moons weapon. Yeah, no, I don't think there is a specific Bad Moons weapon. There is rumors of during the conquest of Olenor, the war boss of the main he would be considered a warlord maybe, but that guy, he had technology that was very, very unique to like any race. It was like a source of energy that was created probably by odd boys at some point in the Corks past.
What about the teleporters?
That came after. Yeah, that came with Orchimedes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was during the second war in Armageddon.
I gotcha.
Or third. It's probably third.
This next one is by Chicken Waffles. What do you think would happen if I stick my hand in the warp glory hole? Would it disappear or maybe turn into tentacles?
You'd get sucked.
Yeah. From what? That's not for me to decide.
Probably a warp vampire.
I was not about to say that. Or maybe some Psych Newen, thinking your hand is like a brain or something.
Yep. It's a type of brain. Next question.
This one is by Terry N. Would an Eldar Phoenix Lord be akin or be able to beat a Primarch? And which ones would you like to see fight? Great channel and keep up the fantastic work, gents.
Thank you.
Phoenix Lords are essentially akin to like named chapter masters, I would say. I don't think they'll be on the level of Primarks, but they're really, really good.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly because most of them are dead. But yeah, they're really strong. They're really powerful. They've mastered many paths of the Eldar, and they can bring the pain for sure.
They can.
Especially if you're Drukhari.
Next question comes from Lord Grey Knights. If you guys had the opportunity to move forward or end the 40K universe, how would you guys do it? Well, bring back all the Primarks, for starters. I actually was listening to this podcast. I don't remember which one it was, but they were talking about how like the most interesting narrative hook for 40K would be the return of Lorgar, because Lorgar created the Imperial Creed, so the Church of the Imperium, and the Church of the Imperium has control over so much. Mm-hmm. It's like so like infiltrated, or yeah, it's a part of everyday life. So if Lorgar comes back, there is a sense of like, I created this. Yeah. I wonder if he would get respect for that.
Because it is crazy how you think of like the Book of Lorgar is essentially the seed planted into the earth that is Terra, and that seed became a tree, and it provides like a blanket of shade to all its inhabitants, aka security and a feeling of order, protection, that kind of thing. But also the church has its roots throughout everything. Yep. And if he does come back and they do see him as like the second coming of the Emperor, or like the new Messiah or something like that, like he has control over everything. And just to see how much of an impact that would play would be really pretty awesome to see.
Yeah. Next question. I have one from Joseph McFadden. Would be badass to have Conrad Kurz come back, but not on anyone's side. Yeah, I think that whenever Primarks or Traitor Primarks come back, most of them are not really on anybody's side. They're just kind of doing their thing. Another one would be the Iron Warriors guy, Perturabo. Mm-hmm. If Perturabo came back, I feel like he really wouldn't be on Chaos side. He would just be like trying to gather his legion again. The Iron Warriors.
Mm-hmm. Los Guerreros de Hierro.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel Pedro Bento. What if Genestealers infected an entire world, but the Hive Fleet never arrived? What would happen after 100 years? 1,000 years?
It's like that man who was part of the Japanese war in World War II, and he didn't actually like surrender until like years later, when they finally told him no, the war's over, because he was on an island or something. I don't know if you've
I think I've heard something like that. Yeah.
So I think that's what it would be. Like that planet would just maintain its control or its grasp on that, defending it from Xenos, defending it from the Imperium, and just trying to control it as much as possible.
To the point where like every human or whatever native species on there are essentially Genestealers now, because like they have like that generational, like parasitic control or like birthing stage.
Yeah.
Where like the first generation is like almost all Genestealer, and then they kind of fuse into becoming like the perfect symbiote in a way.
I wonder if like you can break off, or you could expand past the planet and then do like an entire sector. Yeah. But to the point where like you are the head, the Genestealer cult is the head of the party, or head of the group of planets, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to see if like they've had so many generations and they've evolved so much that they see Tyranids as a threat.
Yeah.
And they become their own like faction.
Yeah. Which happens now. Like if there is a Genestealer cult on a planet, and then a Tyranid Hive Fleet from a different Hive Fleet attacks,
they'll fight.
Yeah, they're gonna fight. They'll throw hands. Next question.
This one's by Te Mandela Bird. Can the Emperor see through Zeech's bullshit, or is he just as susceptible as humans?
Just as susceptible as humans.
Yeah, because he doesn't even know what makes kids love the awesome taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Right. That's probably the cinnamon.
Yeah. I thought it was the toast.
Or maybe the sugar.
The crunch?
Next question.
The Mandela Bird. Since Space Marines got the Primaris upgrade, GW is currently messing with the Chaos faction. What faction do you think is next, and what upgrades, if any, do you think are coming?
Corn.
You think so?
Yeah.
I feel like Corn always gets something. It's like they get a big update, they wait 2 years. They get a big update, 2 years.
But not new models. Did they get new models? Because they have Black Legion, but that's undivided.
Yeah.
But like Berserkers, I don't think we've had.
Yeah, we definitely
Berserkers.
need new Corn Berserkers.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens.
I think GW is just slowly gonna bring all like the main troops up to scale, better details.
I need to rewatch that one like teaser trailer where they were showing the orcs, not Harlequins. They were showing orcs, Dark Eldar, Skitarii, because I really thought that we were gonna get orc boys, but now I don't know, because I wonder if the orc that they showed is just the orc that they were trying to sell for Christmas.
The like special buy orc or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So for something like that, would you completely get rid of all your old orcs and get the new sculpt, since you have so many orc boys?
I'd probably just do another clan. So like I'll keep my Bad Moons and then paint these new ones as like something else. Or just, I don't know. That would be annoying.
Yeah, because I feel like that's kind of the same thing with Space Marines. You have your own Space Marine army, but look at these shiny new Primaris.
Now there is another thing too, though, because like with the old Marines and the Primaris Marines, you can still play the old Marines.
Right.
So I wonder if you could, if there would be something in the lore that makes new orcs better, and they're different than the old orcs.
You have your orc boys, your orc teens, your orc adults.
Yeah, there you go.
And then orc knobs.
In that situation, then it would be interesting because, yeah, you might play an army with the old and the new.
Mm-hmm.
Like you technically could with Primaris right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't really see that too often. It's either all old Marines or all Primaris.
Yeah. This next question comes from the Mandela Bird. Is brass somehow anti-psyker? Khorne armies seem to have some of them to keep them from being affected by psyker attacks. Brass, no. But they have the collars, which are made out of brass.
Mm-hmm.
Those are anti-psychic. But they are anti-psychic because Khorne psychically gives that to them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all a big ruse.
Little does Khorne know, but Khorne is using psychic powers because he's a warp god. Next question.
This one's by the Mandela Bird, once again. If pee is stored in the balls, then where is sperm stored? And also, where do girls store their pee? Girls don't pee.
Right.
Right, because they don't have balls, so they have nowhere for pee to go. So it just kind of dissipates.
Yep. And then the first question was...
if pee is in the balls, where's sperm?
Oh, in your taint.
That's why it hurts to get kicked in the taint.
Yeah. It's a very sensitive area because that's where your kids are. You know how like sharks, when they're, swimming, they have those little...
The little fish that
at
suck
the bottom.
on.
Yeah. That's kind of what you have. Have you ever seen your taint?
I thought you were going to say, like, you know how, like, when sharks are in, like, the womb, they, like, eat each other and, like, the main shark survives?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on in your taint?
Well, yeah, that's how, like, they stay fresh and clean. Kind of like your skin. Like, what is it? Every 7 days you get, like, a new coat or some shit like that?
Yeah.
Every year or something.
Something like that.
It's the same thing with your taint and sperm that hangs off there like little fish on sharks. Last question that you got. Do you got one?
Yeah, this one's by the Mandela Bird again. It's going to be a bird type of ending. Let's say that the Emperor was able to come off the Golden Throne and keep the Astronomicon going for however long he needed to resurrect. What would he have to do to be able to leave the throne room to lead the Imperium and keep the Astronomicon going?
Get his body back because he's a skeleton?
Yeah, definitely. Not just that, but I think if he were to actually be able to move around and lead the Imperium while also keeping the Astronomicon open, like, are you really going to allow the head of the Imperium to go out there and put himself at risk?
Yeah.
Like, I still don't see that happening. Like, yeah, he was on the front lines before, but it's like, you've seen him. He's not this immortal god you once thought he was. Like, he can get injured, he can fall. So it's like, maybe they're going to keep him constrained to the throne room? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it would be a really tricky situation if they did bring him back. There's a lot of questions that would be left, like, up in the air.
Like, would he focus on reformation of, like, the church and all that? Would he focus on chaos? What about Xenos? What about the Primarks? Would he try and find him? There's a lot that could happen with the Emperor being, back.
Yeah. Those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
This has been The Sound Alchemist.
Gershwin.
And we are out.
Oh, if you could put my